Hello friends, I am Chevee. Welcome to my shed. How are you today? How's life in your world? How's things where you are? Hope it's all fantastic. Everything here is great. And first of all, happy birthday. Today is the birthday of the Daily Shed. I started this thing in 2016, so I suppose we turned 6 today. 6 years of doing this. That's wild to me. It's really, really wild. And it's been a really fun 6 years, and I've met a lot of amazing people and wonderful friends, and I hope that, when we hit another milestone year or whatever, that we have even more friends along the way. That's kind of what I was trying to do last week, was to figure out a way to find more friends, and I had a blast doing last week's videos. Thank you everybody for the kind response. I hopefully introduced you to some games you've either never heard of or have been interested in but haven't played, because, they're oldies, but they're oldies but goodies, right? And while those videos haven't received views, I knew they wouldn't. First of all, it's a start of something new, and starts of something new typically need steam in order to be discovered. I also picked games that are not talked about. So if I had chosen to start with more recent titles that have stayed in my collection, then maybe I would have gotten some more views. But ultimately, it's not about the views. I hope everybody understands this show has never been about the views, because I'm not down here doing view hunting stuff. I'm down here doing stuff that I feel is genuine and sincere, and it reflects me and my loves, right? So I had a blast making them, though. I really did. It's effort. It's a lot of effort, actually. I had 2 cameras going. If you didn't notice, I have a camera rig like literally right here. Check this out. This is one of those camera things. I don't have a tape measure anymore because it's on my apron. If I had to guess, I would say that there's about 24 inches here, right? So this thing is hanging in my perspective. This thing is at my forehead level, right? But because of the way the camera sits, you can't see this little dangly bit. So there's a 4K camera sitting on here, recording the table and whatever. So doing it the 2-camera way works really well for me as far as editing goes, because I can just match up the audio and I know that they're in sync, and then I can just cut out sections where I don't want the overhead camera shown. And I use the audio from this microphone because that one kind of sucks. And it works well. It's a clean, easy way of doing it. And I felt pretty good about just openly talking about games. Instead of having a script, or instead of trying to pander to the publisher or designers, or it's just me talking about games that I enjoy. And I thought that was a fun experiment. This type of video takes me it takes me 10 minutes-ish to record. It takes me about that same amount of time to edit. It's a really quick edit. And then the computer renders it for 15 minutes. I upload it, fill in the YouTube stuff, done. So not counting render time, I spend maybe half an hour to 45 minutes a day doing this. The videos... Those 5 videos, last week's videos, took me probably an hour to an hour and a half a piece. So it's double the effort, basically, to do one of those. But that's not bad, right? Like, I'm still trying to keep them around 10 minutes. They're not really intended to be deep dives into some long-lost game. They're not intended to give you a full instructional tutorial. They're not intended to be anything other than, here's why I love this, and maybe you'll like it too. And I think that worked okay. I think that worked well. But the feedback I've received, everybody seemed to like it. Everybody seemed to have good thoughts on those games. And I appreciate, of course, I always appreciate talking to you guys. So, I have, last week we covered 6 of my around 75 games that I have in my collection right now, which means there's a lot more to do. And the question is, do I do it like on a weekly basis? Do I do it one a week? Do I do times when I do a whole week worth of them? I I didn't necessarily like that each video was a silo, meaning that Usually, I get to come on and talk about yesterday's video. I get to say thanks. I get to, sometimes I get to have a complete rebuttal of yesterday's video, or because of your comments, we have to discuss further what we talked about yesterday. With these kind of reviewy type videos, they're very much just, that's what it is, right? They're stuck in place. And that's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be that way. I could come on and talk about yesterday's video, or talk about, something, do some callbacks and some tie-ins. But for somebody who's searching for a review of that game, that would be very confusing to them, I think. And so I just kind of tried to keep it siloed. I try to keep it to be its own thing. And if I'm going to do that if I'm going to do that more frequently, I should say, I don't know how best to fit it into this type of discussion where we just talk about us and we talk about the show. So I have to think about that a little bit. I enjoyed doing it for a week. I enjoyed understanding that it's not so much more work that it's overwhelming, and that I could sustainably do those types of videos every day regularly. And maybe that's maybe that gives me some insight into how I could make this a little bit more interesting. Maybe if I carry this around more often and I take shots of things throughout my day, things we're going to talk about, I could pepper that footage in. The difficulty there is finding the place to drop the footage, right? Then again, the nice thing about doing it this way is this camera's running all the time, that camera's running all the time. All I have to do is sync those two things up, and I have perfectly synced to what I'm saying imagery. And then all I have to do is cut the sections that I want out or in, however you look at it. And editing wise, it's much easier to do than having 10 or so clips that I recorded on this and finding a place to drop those clips in. That's actually much more time consuming than just trimming, right? Trimming is the easy part. Finding the place to drop clips in is much more time consuming. So I don't know, maybe I do carry this around more often and just do random shots of things and stick them in the videos. That might make life a little bit more interesting around here, and might make these videos a little bit more entertaining for the casual viewers, the guys who stop by. I say guys, that's not the folks who stop by occasionally and watch, a few videos here and there. Maybe I can make it a little bit more enticing for them to stick around and watch more. I don't know, but I discovered that it was a pretty easy workflow. It wasn't too bad. So I'm thinking I'm going to try to spice things up a little bit. Just haven't quite figured out how. Well, I've only been doing this for 6 years. What do I know, right? I watched a video yesterday from a channel called Lincoln Street Woodworking, or maybe it's Lincoln Street Woodworks. If you haven't found this person yet, go look him up if you're into the woodworking stuff. His channel has only existed for a year, and in his first 10 months, he hit 100,000 subscribers, and he made something like $25,000 off of his channel in 10 months. That was profit, I think, which is remarkable, especially in that space. There are so many woodworking channels now that just kind of pop in, do 10 or 15 videos, and then disappear. What's more remarkable is, I think in those 10 months, he only published like 8 or 9 videos. There was no schedule, it was just, I'm going to make the best video I can about this particular subject. He did the research, he understood what he was talking about, and he put out some really awesome content. And I watched a good bit of his content last year, but I never subscribed for some reason. And then I saw his video yesterday talking about how he grew his channel to 100,000 subscribers in 10 months, and it was pretty remarkable. So maybe I'll put a link to that in the description if you want to watch it. I'm not saying that I'm trying to do that. What I'm saying is I've been doing this for 6 years, and I've lost subscribers. We're down subscribers from where we were 4 years ago, So maybe I should try a little bit harder. I don't know. Maybe this could be a nice little side income someday. I don't really want it to be or need it to be, but if it happens, it happens. And if nothing else, I had a lot of fun relearning of essentially how to make a video last week. So maybe we'll do that again soon. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you for being here as always. Thank you for liking and commenting and subscribing. Being amazing friends, wonderful people. I really appreciate you, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Today's word you should know to sound smart is licentious. It's an adjective meaning promiscuous, slutty, someone who is sexually uninhibited and free. Janine's licentious behavior was really a cry for attention, the school psychologist was convinced. Licentious, Licentious. That's a good word. I've not heard licentious. Slutty, sure.